All right, we are live. I apologize, I was just updating the thumbnail for today's show. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's Wednesday here in Frisco, Texas. And on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock, first of the month, they test the tornado sirens. And I don't know if you can hear that going on in the background, but that is what we have going on. Bonjour to HTV Le Live. Let me just check to make sure my audio is working. Yep, because there is a little bit of an echo. I don't keep the headphones in the whole time because it's difficult to talk and hear yourself with a bit of delay. So if you're wondering why I just do a little check there, that's what that's for. And now I'm going to turn down the audio on the YouTube feed. Let me take off my titles. Alrighty. So today we have a question and answer, and I am also going to be talking about the remote guest feature of the YoloBox Pro and the YoloBox Mini. These tools allow you, without any other hardware, no laptops needed, no administration in the cloud, none of this. You can do it all from the YoloBox itself, sitting on top of your camera or underneath your camera or on a tripod. And you can send out a link to someone from the YoloBox. They get the link, it's just a URL. And with that link, they click on it and they go to a web page. So you could do it via mobile. You can do it, I have one kind of set up right here that I will be testing. I have an overhead camera looking down here that if you click, it bit me again. It was on audio follow video. Hopefully that will be rectified in the future. Again, as I was saying before, the audio follow video took my audio away when I switched cameras. I am using a YoloBox Pro here. It's currently being charged up, and I'm actually using another YoloBox Pro right over there to switch the show. This is the in-show. This is the practical. This is the one that's doing the show. I have Instagram over here. If we have any Instagram questions, that is set up. You can see it is actually live. And down here, I've got a cell phone that anybody could use to become a remote guest. They don't need any special hardware. Any laptop, any desktop, anything that's got a web browser can do this, and all they need is a webcam or, with a mobile device, the built-in cameras. And we will go through that. There is, if you were watching this on YouTube, and this week is just on YouTube, thank you guys for jumping in for the no sound. Figured that out. Thankfully, the YoloBox itself also notified me, came up with an alert. There's no sound. So everybody's doing a great job making sure we are good to go on this show. Let me say hi to JM Film, S80, JM Films 809. Thank you. And we had someone else earlier, Necta FPS. Thank you. Good to see you. And HTV Live, Le Live. I'm going to guess you're in France. Just a guess. Chime in here. Let me know where you're all watching from, and I will try to guess the time of day that you're watching. I was going to say that we're doing this just on YouTube today because the Facebook link on the device that I use is a company Facebook link, and that's going through a change. So normally I stream to both Facebook and YouTube on the official channels of YOLO Live, and the Facebook one is being updated at the moment, and I didn't have time to finish all of that before we started the show today. And so we will be back on Facebook and YouTube next week, and also next week we will try out the ASP, the robust streaming protocol that will push my show a minute earlier, but also make sure that any particular dropouts between A and B don't interrupt the show, which is going to be a fantastic resource for anyone that is using a YoloBox to have that available. I am also wanted to let you all know that if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's go back to me. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to get this wrong because I'm not flipped today. YOLO Live Tech is the channel. If you clicked on the Facebook link I posted and you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. These shows are every Wednesday at noon Central Time US. So that kind of works out to be kind of evening through Europe and viewable all throughout the US. So we're trying to hit as many time zones as possible, not being too late in the evening in the US, not being too early, etc. Also, if we have a fantastic official YOLO Live user group, that's the name of it, on Facebook. The YOLO Live team is actively involved in listening to end users. They just posted a couple requests for comments specifically about the audio follow video thing that just bit me when I switched cameras. The audio followed the video, and there's no video coming from my overhead camera. So that's what got me. And I think the impetus is to turn it off by default. And the YOLO Live team are actually looking for any specific details. If we're going to change it, let's make sure it works for the most users possible. And this is one of the things that I really love about the YOLO Live product and the YOLO Live team is that they listen. And when people say, listen, we would really like the audio follow video to default to off, they're like, what's the best way to do this? So that if we're going to make a change, let's make sure it works for everybody. Let's see. Once again, if you are watching this live, it is a Q&A show. While I will be talking about doing remote guests today, you are free to ask any question. And I am an end user. I am based in Frisco, Texas, USA, and I will answer the question to the best of my ability. I'm not on the engineering team. I'm not on the marketing team. I don't have any behind the scenes secret sauce to know what all is coming up beyond what most people will know who are in the user group on Facebook already. But I do have a good amount of experience with the Pro, the OG, the InStream, the Mini, and I will do my best to answer your questions as best I can. So with that, I also wanted to point out that if you are having a specific issue that can't be answered in the user group, support@yololive.com is the email to send your direct request for support. And if you're having some sort of error, some sort of can't connect or whatever, they can actually have you send a log file from your device in, and then you send your serial number in. You send them, email support with your serial number, and then they can attach your issue with the log file and have both sets of information that they could, see what was going on your device when that particular problem happened. And that is a great feature and a great resource available to everyone. So without further ado, we wanted to talk about remote guests. And I think I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am an independent producer in Frisco, Texas. I write for Streaming Media Magazine. I have it here now at the ready. I am a 20-plus year award-winning, Emmy-nominated streaming video multi-camera live switching professional. And I am broadcasting from my home studio in front of a green screen. So this is the green screen actually created in the YoloBox. And I wanted to say, if you have any questions that aren't being answered here directly on this stream, that I urge you to go to YouTube, where there are over 20 tutorials that are available for you on green screen, on remote guests, on selecting the best codec, on all these different things. And I wanted to make sure that you had that available to you. I'm just going to set up a camera here. Had that available to you so that, cancel, it's an iPhone. You had to cancel like a dozen times. And you could view those at any time on each particular topic that you are interested in, so that if you don't use green screen now, but a month from now you have an interest in learning green screen, or what's the best way to set up green screen on the YoloBox, that tutorial is out there. If you don't use automatic switching, there's a tutorial on automatic switching. If you now all of a sudden you're doing a show and you want to invite a remote guest in, there's a tutorial specifically on remote guests. And that way, those things are always available to you. So when you get to that point where you need that feature, and there are so many features involved in these YoloBoxes, that these tutorials are always available for you. And can the Pro record ISO? Thank you for, let's pop that up there. Femi Palmer asks, can the Pro record ISO? No, and I'll tell you why. Because these are Android tablets. There's no getting around the fact. These are Android-based tablets, and there is one compressor chip. And so that one compressor chip is taking your program, it's all uncompressed video as it's being mixed and everything, and that one chip is compressing it both for, I'm going to mute my phone here, sorry about that, the stream and for recording. If you are doing replay, it's recording that same thing but twice, so that you could replay the last 10 seconds. So it's kind of just like a little rolling cache. So that's really complex. I'm not like I said, I'm not on the engineering team, but it can't record each of your 4 inputs or 3 inputs as well as the program, because that would be 4 different recording engines or 4 different recording, processes going on in the YoloBox Pro at the same time. And these boxes are not built with that level of hardware. Maybe you could have a Pro or an SDI version or a new version, and it will come with new features, including ISO record. But as of right now, these devices do not record your inputs separately of the program record, just program record. And because it's one compression engine, the bit rate you set for streaming is the bit rate that also gets recorded. It's not 2 different bit rates. You can't sit there and say, I want 20 megabit record, but a 2 megabit stream. You can't do that because there's only one compression engine. This is a good question. Let me bring this up. The Fiat Ministry Network asks, any chance YoloBox will sell the sweatshirts or t-shirts? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not on the marketing team, but hey, Frank, if you're watching, write out to the Fiat Ministry Network because they want some sweatshirts, I guess. I have to say it's comfortable. It fits me great. It's got a nice color. If you want to wear their logo, I'm wearing it because I'm doing the show. But hey, it's actually a nice hoodie. It's got pockets too. It's got pockets right here. So I can give you a user feedback on the sweatshirt. I like it. It's a good quality sweatshirt. T-shirts. They actually have t-shirts available too. They run really small. When I did an expo for YOLO Live, they sent the shirts and they sent them out in extra large, double XL, and triple XL. And I was wondering how big they thought I was, because typically Americans, are considered to be big, chubby people. And then I put on the extra large, which would have normally, if you buy one in the US, it would be swimming on me, because I'm sort of like I'm a medium large. I'm kind of in between those. I put on the extra large and it fit like it was a muscle shirt, super tight. And I ended up wearing the 2XL. Seems to fit me good. So, and just for the sake, if you watch the demo videos, you'll often see this shirt. This is the bluish shirt that I use for the demo videos. This is not a YOLO Live shirt. This is a shirt that I had made, and it's actually backwards. And that's because you're not going to be able to buy this in a store because it's backwards. I do that because I flip the image when I do the tutorials, because when I raise my right hand to point this way on your screen, it's pointing to the left-hand side of the screen, and that's confusing to be trying to point to an icon that's on the screen and have my hand, have it flipped. Whereas Zoom and, those business chat apps can flip it so your right hand reaching up shows the same hand reaching up on the screen. I had to do it manually with a mirror, and if you flip with a mirror, then this is going to be backwards. Unless I start with a backwards shirt, then it's flipped and corrected. So, good question about the sweatshirts and t-shirts. So remains, why is there no sound between YoloBox Pro and OBS? I'm guessing you're asking via USB. Right back and clarify that. I'm guessing via USB, although if I were to ingest into OBS, I would do it via a capture device. I have one right here. I use these. I'm not going to flip it around. Well, I can flip it around. So I use these HDMI video capture device. As you can see, I have, if I go to my overhead here and I go to that, this is the in-stream, and the reason it's got this nice layout, I'm going to put myself in front of it in a second. So pip, and put that as the background next, put me as the foreground next, and then no box, make me really big, and done. And I go to that. And the reason why, see, it's flipped. These two look as good as they do is because these two are actually getting this same camera that I'm talking to you on input into the in-stream, and this shows the green screen behind me, whereas now behind me you don't see the green screen. So that is coming into this vertical in-stream is being captured by one of these into a computer, which then rotates it, slides it off to the side, puts a nice border around it, puts this pretty blue background, and then I bring that back into the YoloBox to do the green screen over that. So right now, this whole arrangement and positioning and squeezing and rotating and everything, and you can actually see the audio from my microphone right there, is all happening in a computer, because that is very specialized. You're not going to really need to do that on the Instagram. But I would always ingest via, an HDMI capture. You can focus on that. HDMI little capture device, and this goes to USB. And that's how I would bring my YoloBox Mini, whatever, into a computer for OBS, because I just demonstrated that's what I'm doing right here. I'm taking the output of the in-stream HDMI into my computer, which I could be running OBS, but I'm not. But this could be done via OBS. So just pretend this is being done by OBS. All right, as I said, this is open Q&A. As we said at the start of the show, it is your Q&A. Oh, I got the direction. Your Q&A is anything at any time, and the main focus of today's talk is going to be remote guests. So with that, I'm going to pick right back up. I'm going to put this on comments again. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. Remote guests. Let's go back to my overhead. Here we go. And you can see right here, that's not going away. Why isn't it? There it goes. I have my YoloBox Pro, and I've got my camera coming in, which is the same camera that you see on the main feed. And this is my HDMI out, so I can actually switch to just the screen of the Pro. And you see up here is the invite guests button, mute guests audio by default, which is really, really good because when they come on, they're just going to be down here. They're not going to be popping on the screen. They're going to appear down here as a camera. But if you don't click this, their audio will turn on. And then you'll have other people talking, dogs barking, whatever's going on at their house, automatically part of the show. And if you don't want that, and I would think that you don't, you turn this on. Allow participants to join is also a very important thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this now. Oh, wake up. Okay. Let me type in the super secret password. So what I did here was I sent the link to myself and I forwarded it to this iPhone. And then when I tried to follow the link, it says failed to join the live streaming event. The room has not started, closed, or the limit has been reached. Now there is a limit. 5 guests is the limit. And what happened here is I had this turned off. So you can send out the link, but if you don't turn this on, they get this message. They get bounced, basically. They're not allowed to enter the room. So I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm going to hit refresh and see how that works. I mean, we're doing this live. This is a live show. So if it doesn't work, we're going to figure out what doesn't work. There we go. You are joining a live streaming event. No mic or cam access. Down here it says allow mic or camera access. Oh, I've done this before, and as I said, there is a tutorial on remote guests. There's actually 2 tutorials on remote guests on the YouTube channel. Go look them up, but this is a live show, so you can ask questions. The main tutorial indicates you need to rotate your phone horizontally before turning on your camera and connecting it to this YoloBox YoloLive system. If you don't, it's not going to rotate it. Typically, I find it doesn't rotate properly and it doesn't fill the screen. That's a great tip for you. Write that down because it took me a little bit to figure that out. Maybe it's been adjusted, maybe they've updated things, but best practice is if you want it to be horizontal like this show is, then make sure when people get to this screen, or let me go back over the top, when people get to this screen, that they take their device and they rotate it horizontally. Now, when you allow the mic or cam access, allow, there we go. You can see my camera is horizontal. And over here on the right, hello, you can see my microphone is working. You can go into the settings. If you wanted to, you could actually pick the front camera or the rear camera. Camera resolution is 1080p and everything. Audio, it's the iPhone microphone. You can see there's levels there. The speaker, obviously you've only got the built-in speaker. I don't have headphones or Bluetooth or earbuds or anything connected to this, but you could. You could definitely connect earbuds, well, if you had one that had a headphone jack, or Bluetooth headset if you wanted to do that as well. So that is where you access these things. So I'm going to confirm these settings. Again, I'm using the selfie camera on the phone, which you can see right here. It's looking up at me, and you can see the green screen behind me and my backlight up on the wall, and here I am, but you can't see it because I'm not connected yet. Guest name. The guests are going to be asked to put in their name. I'm going to say my name is Anthony. O-N-Y. Done. And then we're going to join the event. Join. 1, 2. All right. And you see, there's the camera right there. I have to turn this down, and I know from experience that iPhones, for no reason that I can fathom, none, you can turn it down as much as you want, and it will not go down all the way. It will always keep playing sound. So this is the sound that your remote guests will hear when they connect to the show. Some people have said they have problems getting the sound. You can see my voice is coming into the YoloBox. It's connecting to the phone. And when I held the phone up to the microphone, you can hear the echo. We got HTV Live writes in, I tested it on a race with 5 invites. It worked well, but pay attention to the quality of the network for those who call it. Thank you. Yes. That is one thing that is really hard to make clear or to understand. You could have the YoloBox plugged in. You've got the most fantastic Ethernet possible, but your remote guest comes in choppy. Why is the YoloBox showing the remote guest choppy? Well, that's because the remote guest is not using your connection. The remote guest is using their connection, wherever they might be. If it's cellular, they're on whatever cellular connection they have. If they're on Wi-Fi, they're on their Wi-Fi. Their connection is not your connection, and their connection may not be as good as your connection. So if you have one guest that is choppy, it could very well be their connection. It's not related to the YoloBox. It's not related to your connection. There's 2 separate connections to the internet. And just to reiterate, the remote guest feature goes through the internet. It's not device to device. So if we look overhead, this is touching this. But this is going to the internet through my office Wi-Fi, going to YOLO Live servers to make the connection, and from YOLO Live servers back all the way over to this connection. It's going through the internet. Now, that can be an advantage, because if you, like HTV Live says, on a race, this could be like a marathon. A really big marathon with miles between cameras. And if you wanted to have a camera way over there on the other side of a lake, if they have cellular connectivity, that's your camera. And you want to have another camera way over here down at the bottom of a big hill. If they have cellular connectivity, there's your camera. They're not connecting to you, so their proximity to you is not as important as their ability to connect to the local cell tower, if they're using these devices. So that is a fantastic point of note, in that their connectivity affects how well they connect to you. But because it's not a direct connection, this remote guest, you could use these as remote cameras. That's the second tutorial video on YouTube. You can connect these as remote cameras, but they're using cellular or Wi-Fi or whatever, but they could be anywhere. They could be at a Starbucks in Dubai. They're on Wi-Fi, but they're in Dubai. I'm in Texas, and they just pop right up. CJ Live asks, can we connect the EVO8 sound interface to YoloBox Pro? I'm going to say no. You can connect, there's a line input, there's a mic input. Generally, right now, feeding the mic input with line level works the best, because it gives a nice hot signal that you can leave the gain turned down. Just make sure that you avoid distortions. But I do not believe USB interfaces work with the YoloBox Pro or Mini. You can connect a USB mixer, but I believe you're only going to get the 2 program left and right into the YoloBox. For example, the Rodecaster Pro is something that people use, or the Zoom, and they connect via USB, and that comes up as a source, and that is coming in just the program feed. You're not getting all the 8 inputs, because there's not an 8 input mixing capability in the device. If you go to the audio mixing part, I know audio follow video is on. This is a stereo channel. This is a stereo channel. If I plugged in something into the headphone jack, it would appear, and it would be a stereo channel. So there's not any way for the YoloBox to understand or deal with more than 2 channels. So if you're going to feed it 2 channels, just come in the line input. That's my thought. But good question. Thank you for that. 2 Pineapples says, aloha from the island of Hawaii. Good to talk to you. Hope to come and visit again. I've been to Maui and the Big Island and Oahu. And I like the Big Island and Maui the best. Does the BirdDog PTZ cam work well with the Pro? In as much as any HDMI camera would. There's no function inside the YoloBox or YoloBox Pro to control a PTZ camera. Now, if you've got a BirdDog does NDI, so you can have another tablet off to the side controlling the NDI, logged into the BirdDog camera and controlling it. I have BirdDog cameras, let me just walk over here. Sorry, I'm walking out of frame. But if you are using a BirdDog camera, and I sorry, this one's getting a little dusty. I use it in my office. If you're using these, they have, right there, it says NDI, which is video over Ethernet. So, this one. You plug in one cable with power and Ethernet, and it's everything. It's going to control this over NDI. It's going to take the video from it. You can bring comms to it. You can tell it to record. No, you can't. This one doesn't have a slot. The other one does. You can control the pan and the tilt and the zoom and do everything over that one wire. It's amazing. Actually, I have one here. Where is it? It comes over here. So here you go. Ethernet. But this production table I have is wired for PoE, which is called Power over Ethernet. And if I plugged it into the right one, it should light up. Maybe it's the other one. Let's try the other one. All right. There we go. It lights up. And what it's doing now is it's negotiating and it's communicating. There it goes. Right now it's going to do a startup where it's going to turn all the way to as far as it can turn. And then it will recenter itself, tilt down. And once it knows where it is, it's now centered. So it's up and it's ready to go. That's the boot up procedure for the BirdDog cameras. But from the YoloBox, you can't tell this thing to pan or tilt. If you have been paying attention to the Facebook group, if you have been paying attention to the Facebook group, and I will post that note right here. Sorry, I got a lot of graphics. In the official YOLO Live user group was just posted my YOLO Live PTZ camera unboxing and setup. And I filmed that on the YoloBox, of course, because everything I do about the YoloBox, I produce on the YoloBox, because that's a great tool to produce stuff. And I don't have the, do I? No, that's the TV remote. The YoloBox comes with a remote, like a little TV remote, but it is really dedicated to controlling up to 4 different PTZ cameras from YOLO Live. It's the YOLO Cam. It's vertical. It's a vertical camera, and it works great with the InStream, which is this guy right over here. It works great with the InStream because the video comes in vertical, and you're like, yay, I'm done. I don't have to fix anything. And the other really good advantage with the YOLO Cam is that you can control everything from the remote. So you can do the panning left and tilt and zooming in, and it's a great camera. The fact that it pans fast when it's wide, and then when you zoom in all the way, the panning is super slow, because at that zoom level, just one little thing, you like could go past things. So the way it scales the capabilities is fantastic. And then you can save, presets for this and that and this and that and this and that. And you save all those presets with the remote, and then you kind of have to be within remote range to just punch them. But in terms of doing a show with vertical cameras and the YoloCam, being able to just like tap that thing and have a wide shot, and tap that thing, have a close up right here, and tap it again and be on the wide shot. Very cool. So there's my little plug for the YoloCam. Used our Pro to live stream the recent Mauna Loa eruption. Worked out great. Oh, see, that's cool. I actually went there and got to the Big Island just after it stopped. Parts of it were still steaming, but just missed it. So I was just there this past summer, fall, and had a great time. Oh no, I was in Iceland. I was just there earlier this year, I think it was, and I just missed the eruption. So kudos to you for getting the eruption and for using and for using the YoloBox to stream it. As again, my name is Anthony Barocas. I am here for YOLO Live. I am an independent producer based in Dallas, Texas. I thank you all for chiming in and watching the show today. I'm going to put this down for a sec. This show is talking about using the remote guest feature, which we are doing, and also answering your questions live and demoing anything that needs to be demoed, which is why if somebody asks a PTZ question, I pick up a PTZ camera. That's how it works. So there is a fantastic Facebook group called the official YOLO Live user group. If you aren't a member of the group already, please join. It is a fantastic group where the official YOLO Live engineers and marketing and everybody, they are actually in the group. They are listening. They are even asking people what they want. There's a discussion right now with audio follow video, and should it be default to on, default to off, please off, and what's the best way to make that change. And they are asking people for input. So there's not that many companies that go to the users and say, tell us how you want this. And YOLO Live is one of those companies. If you are having a problem with your device and nobody in the group is able to help you solve it, support@YOLOLive is your direct email to the team. And if you're watching this on Facebook, YOLO Live Tech is the YouTube channel where all the tutorials that I make are housed. There's over 20 different videos there now, and if you're looking for particular information on a particular feature like green screen or remote guests or the audio mixer or the sports scoreboard or the automatic camera switching or the best streaming settings and things, how to set up a green screen studio. I show you my studio. There's all kinds of videos there to get you started up and running as best as possible for your streaming event using the YoloBox. So thank you all for watching. To my levels. Dang, so close. I know. But here's it may be in the future the ability to control the YOLO Live PTZ camera will come into the YoloBox Pro, and I think that'll be snazzy. At a certain point, we're just going to have so many different panes at the bottom to be like switching between, or it could be like the way vMix does it. You could actually set up one of their virtual inputs, and it'll move the camera to that place and then switch to it. And you switch to a different one, it'll move the camera to that place and switch to it. That would be pretty cool. But I'm not on the engineering team. I'm not saying that's going to happen, from my mouth to their ears, maybe, but I'm just hoping. So getting back onto what I was talking about before. Again, I appreciate your questions. This is a Q&A show with the underlying topic of talking about the remote guest feature. So I apologize if you are here only for the remote guest feature. If you are, there are 2 tutorials on the YouTube channel specifically about the remote guest feature and using the remote guest feature for wireless cameras. So if you are specifically interested in that, you can go see those, and there will be no other Q&A questions in those videos. We'll go back to my overhead, and here we go. Again, I'm switching this live. I have a YoloBox as my demo, and I'm using a YoloBox right over there to switch the show. That's why you keep seeing me reach over. I'm using a YoloBox to do a show about the YoloBox, and I have an in-stream here in case there's an in-stream question. Right here, you can see I haven't even, I have joined. You can see so that if I wave my hand, Over here, it appears. You can see there's a little bit of a delay. Ready? And go. One. So it's under a second between putting my hand in here and seeing it appear over here. Now, the only reason we see that delay is because we see both pieces. The person on this end is not going to see the delay except in when you, let's just say I'm going to do a side-by-side. Let me do a side-by-side. We do this one and do this one. Next, next, and we pick a nice background. Let's pick this. Done. And now, when I bring that up as program, they're going to see themselves. And when they bring their hand up, they're going to see a delay between what they know they did and seeing it happen on the return feed to them. Because honestly, what's happening is I'm doing it here, it's going in, it's being compressed, it's being sent through the cloud, landing on the YoloBox where it has to be uncompressed, put together, and then recompressed, sent back over to the internet, back to the device, uncompressed and shown on the screen. That's all happening in under a second. And that in itself is amazing. You're not really going to be able to improve on it with higher end systems. There's still going to be the delay of getting it from point A to point B. So it's not really a YoloBox problem. It's really far and it takes time to do all these things problem. Is there a 4-screen option for remote guests? No, there is a 3-screen option. If we go to the overhead and you come down here, there is a triple, but I have, I don't know where I saw it, but I do believe some people have already asked for more options, especially considering the fact that you can invite. Let's go back to the invite. Here we go. We'll go overhead. You go to the invite. You can enter 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then, of course, you have the host who's on camera. And if they want to talk to all those people, that's more. And I think I would actually entered, I got 5 connected in the demo of the specific feature. Again, separate video on the YouTube channel. I think I got 5 connected. And that at that point, the next device that tried to connect was blocked because the room was full. And that was the limit. It may change in the future, but as you've pointed out that having the ability to show all the connected people would be really good. And I agree with you. Right now, the multi-views were designed before the remote guest feature was added, and the ability to add 5 people is greater than the inputs on any YoloBox. So when you think about it, the reason, let me cancel this, the reason there are 3 across is because there are 3 inputs. That's the most hardwired HDMI inputs on any YoloBox is 3. So there's 3 across. That makes sense. But now, since they've created the ability to have more inputs, more cameras with the remote guest feature, having more on-screen multi-views is indeed a need that I see as well. Matey TV Channel says, this feature getting OG YoloBox. The remote guest feature, I'm going to say that's a no, because the OG YoloBox, as I've mentioned in the Facebook group, it was made in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and it's now 23. It's over 5 years old, and these new features that are being added require more capability than the 5-year-old hardware can deliver. The OG YoloBox is perfect for small 2-camera graphics, multi-switching, but when you start trying to do 5 remote guests and all of that input and all of that mixing, that's beyond the capability of the OG YoloBox, I think. Again, I'm not on the engineering team. I'm not part of the think tank in China that knows all the inner workings of these devices. But honestly, asking a 5-year-old piece of hardware to do something that was just added to the tablets last year is a really big ask, and I don't think it's going to happen. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I'm an end user in Texas, but understanding the way the mobile processors work, I see that as YoloBox Pro and Mini, which are the newest processor, and forward. There will eventually be another one because the Pro has been out for, I think, 2 years now. And so it's a 2-year-old machine. And there are new chips out. There are even more powerful capabilities. So if YoloBox makes a new YoloBox Pro, or different name, in 2023 that has a different feature set, it's going to have a new CPU in it. It's going to have additional capabilities that even the Pro can't do. It's, because that's the way technology works. That's, the iPhone, 13, wait, that's not the 13. The iPhone 13 does things the older iPhone cannot do. And that is just, as they say, the march of time. So, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's pretty much the way I see it as an end user. Pineapple says, we need a essential. I will admit it. Audio follow video is essential if you're doing a show with a lot of guests. It says the live streaming has stopped. We are almost at an hour. I'm going to jump in here and say, there we go. It just resumed. I see it. So picking back up, the audio follow video feature, as someone who has said many times, I want audio follow video to default to being off. That's where I stand. When you're doing a show with remote guests, having audio follow video on is going to be essential. Because this way, as you switch to the main camera, it turns off the person you don't see. As you switch over here to the remote guest, it just shows them. If you turn them both on, it turns both on. And remember, the YoloBox Pro and the YoloBox Mini, which have the remote guest feature, are true audio mixers. You can have multiple inputs. You can have them be at different levels, so that if my microphone is very weak, I can crank mine up, and they may come in very loud, and I can bring them down. You can change the different levels and then let the YoloBox handle the process of activating those channels that are being mixed together in the YoloBox Pro and the Mini. The Mini has that capability as well. So actually, this device is getting quite warm because I've been having it do live streaming and video encoding for quite some time. This is why the YoloBox Pro has a fan and the Mini has a fan. The phones don't have a fan, so they get really hot. We are almost at an hour. I appreciate you all being here. I hope this has, what option? Oh, wait, over here. Will the option of web URL in YoloBox Original be available in the update? Web URL in the YoloBox Original. I'm guessing you mean web URL graphics. I'm guessing. I am going to guess no, because when I see people try to do it on the Pro, it is also very processor intensive and a challenge to get a particular service to line up correctly in the right spot at the right scale and everything. It seems to be processor intensive, and because it is processor intensive, I believe that is not going to find its way to the original YoloBox, the now 6-year-old piece of hardware. The live stream is up. So I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate the questions. We had a good Q&A session. I hope the demonstration, actually, you know what? I am going to get rid of, actually, I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to go over here. So I have a guest. I click on the guest and I say terminate the guest. You want to delete this video source? Done. And boom, they are booted from my show. And I did that just because I keep hearing myself from the iPhone, and that is a problem with the iPhone in terms of doing demonstrations. You cannot turn it all the way down. I don't know why. It just always has, as much as you turn it down, there's always just a little bit of audio coming out. You cannot just turn it down to mute. I wish there was a way to do that. But hey, if you have that, tell me in the comments. Again, my name is Anthony Barocas. I appreciate you all being here for the first Tech Talk Wednesday of 2023, where we talked about the remote guest feature. Again, if you have a support question, you can email support@yololive.com. If you are watching on YouTube and, oh, wait, I gotta wait for you, go to the official YoloLive user group on Facebook, which is where there's an active, thriving community of people. If you're on Facebook, I got this backwards again. Nope. Go to the YoloLive Tech channel on YouTube, where we have over 20 tutorial videos on all the different features that the YoloLive has. The latest video updated is the unboxing and connection of the Verticam, YoloLive's new PTZ camera for the in-stream. So I show how to set that up, connect it, do presets, program it and everything. And it is a fantastic little camera. Go check that video out. I thank you all for being here. Any last minute comments? My YoloBox isn't seen as a webcam in Windows. Say a driver issue. Any suggestion to fix? I've seen various issues with regards to cables. I've seen various issues as opposed to whether you're coming out the USB-A or the USB-C. I would say trial and error. Some people do get it to work. I will be honest, I tried to do it once for something I was doing, and I was not successful in trying all the different various permutations of options. So I was unsuccessful in getting it to work. Perhaps that is an indication that a little bit more engineering needs to be done with regards to making that work. But again, I'm just an end user. I'm not part of the engineering team. Nagash Media says, how to log in? I don't know what you want to log into. Whether you mean log into your YoloLive account, the YoloCast account, whether you're trying to log into YouTube or Facebook from the YoloBox, there's a lot of different logins. Mahalo, Anthony. Catch you on the next one. Aloha. Thank you very much from Hawaii. I am doing my best to answer your questions at the same time, and I appreciate you all being here. And I'm going to stall for time while I set up my closing thing. I am here. We have shows scheduled every week for the next month. So please join us Wednesdays at the same time every week. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.